In the world of tech, we're all used to the big, flashy headlines, right? The multi-billion-dollar deals, these revolutionary new chips, mind-bending AI demos, and market caps that are just soaring into the trillions. But sometimes the most important moves, the ones that are really going to reshape the future, they don't make any noise at all. They happen kind of in the shadows. And today, we're going to break down one of those quiet acquisitions by the absolute titan of AI, NVIDIA. It was a deal so small it barely made a ripple in the financial news, but trust me, it could change everything about who wins the race for artificial intelligence. This is a story that shows how real power in the 21st century isn't just built on silicon, it's built on the invisible software that tells that silicon what to do.
Okay, so let's just dive right into the central puzzle here. You have NVIDIA, a company whose market cap is bigger than the GDP of a lot of countries, and they just bought this tiny software firm called SchedMD. You've probably never even heard of them, and honestly, that's kind of the point. On the surface, this looks like a rounding error on their balance sheet, a giant buying a minnow. But here's the thing. When a company as strategic and as dominant as NVIDIA makes a move, no matter how small it looks, you have to ask yourself, what are they seeing that the rest of us are missing?
And just to really get the scale of this puzzle, just look at the players. On one side, you've got NVIDIA, this global hardware behemoth. They are the undisputed leader in the GPUs and the AI chips that are powering our entire modern world. And on the other side, SchedMD, a 40-person company that specializes in some niche, open-source software. It's almost a comical mismatch. So what's the secret weapon that this tiny company has that's so important to a giant like NVIDIA? Well, the answer is all in their software.
So SchedMD is the developer of this open-source tool called Slurm. And to really get what Slurm is, it helps to use an analogy. Imagine a huge airport with thousands of planes all wanting to take off at once. Each one has a different destination, a different priority. Slurm is the air traffic control system for that airport. In the world of high-performance computing, it's the brain. It's the central nervous system for the world's most powerful computers.
Think about a modern data center that's being used to train AI. It's not just one computer, right? It's a massive cluster of thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of GPUs, all trying to work together. So when a developer wants to train some huge AI model, something has to decide which job runs on which GPUs, in what order, and at what time. That's Slurm. It's the master coordinator, the conductor of this massive digital orchestra, and it's what prevents absolute chaos.
And we're not talking about some obscure tool here. This is the undisputed industry standard. More than half of the world's fastest supercomputers run on Slurm. It's the software that's trusted by national labs, critical research institutions, and the biggest AI companies to manage their billion-dollar computing investments. I mean, when the stakes are that high, you use the tool that is proven to work. In practice, the workflow is actually pretty straightforward. An AI researcher submits a job. Slurm puts it in a queue, it allocates the GPUs it needs, and then it launches it with perfect timing across the entire system. This is a system that prevents that chaos and efficiently manages millions and millions of dollars worth of hardware. But why is this seemingly simple task of just organizing things so incredibly critical? So this brings us to the real heart of the problem in modern AI infrastructure, and really the reason behind this whole acquisition. The game has totally changed. It's not just about who has the absolute fastest chip anymore. The new battleground, where the real money is won or lost, it's all about efficiency.
I mean, think about it. An NVIDIA H100 GPU can cost upwards of $30,000. If that GPU is just sitting there idle for even a few minutes waiting for a job to do, that is literally money being burned. It's just evaporating. The new frontier of performance isn't just raw speed. It's making sure every single dollar of that expensive hardware is working all the time. Utilization is the new battleground.
And even those little percentages of idle time, they add up fast. 15 or 20% might not sound like a lot, but you multiply that across a data center with tens of thousands of GPUs, and that represents millions in wasted capital and operational costs every single year. Slurm's entire purpose is to shrink that idle time, to squeeze every last drop of performance out of the hardware and turn wasted seconds back into productive computation.
Okay, and this is where the acquisition goes from just being a curious purchase to an absolute masterstroke of corporate strategy. See, NVIDIA already has a legendary competitive advantage, this barrier that rivals have struggled for years to get over. It's often called the CUDA moat. For well over a decade, CUDA has been NVIDIA's fortress. It's the software layer that sits between the hardware and the AI applications. And because this massive global community of developers built all their tools on CUDA, if you want to run most of the world's AI software, you need to use it.
And if you use CUDA, well, you have to use NVIDIA's chips. This software lock-in is the real foundation of their dominance.
So by acquiring SchedMD, NVIDIA isn't just reinforcing its old moat. They're digging a new, deeper one by adding a third critical layer to their advantage. They already control the hardware with their GPUs. They control the software programming layer with CUDA. And now they're adding the orchestration layer, the operational control plane, with Slurm.
Just think about it for a second. They can now co-design their future chips, their high-speed networking, and the scheduling software to work in perfect, seamless harmony. They can build in optimizations at the deepest level, creating a performance advantage that's subtle but incredibly powerful. A rival might build a faster chip on paper, but if it can't be scheduled as efficiently in the real world, well, that speed advantage just vanishes.
So this brings us to a fascinating paradox. If Slurm is this new, critical layer of their competitive moat, why is NVIDIA keeping it open source? Why on earth would they give this powerful advantage away for free, even to direct competitors like AMD and Intel?
It sounds completely counterintuitive, doesn't it? I mean, if you have a strategic weapon, you don't typically just hand it over to your enemies. But this is the most powerful and honestly elegant part of the entire strategy. It's a classic open source gambit, and it is brutally effective.
So here's the brilliant part of the strategy. NVIDIA doesn't need to lock anyone out. By keeping Slurm open source, they keep it as the industry standard, and they stop the community from creating some rival. But with the developers now in-house, they can make sure Slurm is always perfectly optimized for new NVIDIA hardware on day one. Their competitors are always going to be a step behind, forced to spend their own engineering resources just to catch up. This creates what you could call a procurement tilt. When things just work a little bit smoother on NVIDIA gear, those multi-million-dollar purchasing decisions, they quietly lean their way. It's a form of soft power. It's a way to weaponize friction against your rivals while avoiding the antitrust alarms a proprietary solution would definitely trigger.
This acquisition is really the final piece of the puzzle in NVIDIA's story. They are cementing their position as way more than just a GPU company. They are becoming the indispensable infrastructure platform for the entire world of AI.
And their ambition doesn't stop at on-premise supercomputers either. SchedMD also maintains a project called Slinky, which brilliantly builds a bridge, allowing the powerful, super-detailed scheduling of Slurm to run inside Kubernetes, which is the standard for cloud computing. This means NVIDIA can now manage workloads seamlessly from a private data center to a hybrid cloud environment, unifying the entire AI development lifecycle under an orchestration layer that they now influence.
So let's just put it all together. By controlling these three critical layers, the hardware with their GPUs, the software API with CUDA, and now the orchestration layer with Slurm, NVIDIA isn't just selling chips anymore. They are the architects of the entire AI data center, from the silicon at the very bottom to the scheduling and management at the very top. It's a level of vertical integration that is almost unheard of in modern technology.
And that leaves us with a final and kind of provocative thought. From a business and a strategy perspective, this move is nothing short of brilliant. But it also concentrates an immense amount of power and influence over the foundational infrastructure of AI into the hands of a single company. As we build ever more powerful artificial intelligence, the question of who controls the control plane, well, that's one the entire industry and frankly all of us are going to have to grapple with as we move forward.